I woke up from a series of dreams in a room above the Café Espresso and screamed. I began to think about it, but all I saw were dark eyes. Next day I asked Rhoda how long it would take, and if it still endured as long as we stubbornly fixated the time. Rhoda leaned back and gave it a minute before she answered. It must be time itself. Then she put her hand on my shoulder. Is it all about comfort? Said I, and wiped my left hand across my face. She looked into my green eyes and said, Oh, dreamer, go wherever you want to go. Neither you nor I can do anything about these farts. They're just standing in a room. They remain. Sometimes they're visible and sometimes they materialize from the undergrowth, similar to an ambush. I took a sip of my coffee and placed it below on the ground or covered with keys. I came back, yes, but that was absolutely not her fault. Sure, she could have said, I want you, but of course she was way too smart to act like this. I crossed one leg over the other and started to tap my right knee with my right index. A woman with a bridal dress had passed along, and I was on the verge to say what I always say when such an opportunity comes up. But Rhoda sneezed and I said, Gesundheit, as the phrase goes. I fished a few notebooks out of thin air, placed them in Rhoda's lap just the way they were. That's all I said. Greater and minor testament of mine, sort of. Throw this junk into the molder, I don't care. Make sure it's gone from the flat face of the earth, please. 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 She promised to do it at her earliest convenience. Anyway, go ahead with it, I said. Now that you happen to be here, she said, and stored the books in a yellow bag made of canvas, let's go for a walk. Can't help it, but I have to say, she kind of guided me. Once I walked beside her on her right, then I was a step ahead. Soon I tripped behind her. There's a picture you might want to catch, she said all of a sudden, and pointed with her hand to a darkness in front of us. Slowly my eyes adjusted to this kind of darkness, and what was a minute before was just a place in my imagination was what you would call an all-night cafe. People sit in front of it, except for one. He stands, yells, tampers with a chair. He knocks over the nice marmortician. He just turns the table as in the table's turned, and suddenly it's their turn, but they're more staggered by that. Soon we zoom past it and leave that and everything else alone in this dark. Rhoda says, yes. Silence emerges. We both don't know how to handle this. So I let myself fall facing backwards, ate strawberries, the most forbidden ones of them, like I always do, was all of a sudden totally wrapped in a kind of dark liquid. That liquid matter some call space or even universe. Better care about the promise conundrum, says Rhoda. But because I was twitching with my foot, I kicked the coffee below the bench. Meander-like lingered the dark brownish matter along the path. I mean, who cares about eastward moving barometric lows over the Atlantic Bridge if out of the blue that long-lost anticipated caffeine shot is just heading south? When one dreams, you say, things get very liquid. There's nothing you can do about it. What shall one do about it? Maybe buy a new coffee, she says. But's that really worth anything? It may be late. Too late, said I. But indeed you can't go wrong with that. After all, it's coffee. The first law lectures this. I don't understand as much as this. It was always better not to act against the law. Even my low-paid daddy sang about it. Yet still I have no intention to follow in his footsteps. Anyways, the law is the law. I'm sure you got the point. In the evening, we decided to stroll down from the Gnostic Knoll, trying to catch a glimpse of a scene in the city. In our empty hands, we carry our empty coffee cups. Right beside us in time, a woman carries a newborn down the hillside. That's when I feel a stitch in my side, but those were the days when you didn't really give a darn about things like that. During the night, the death of the actress Am was revealed to us. Rhoda says that's the way it is when soulmates die. You can't do a thing. Nothing. So it was up to us to raise our next cup of coffee to M. Meanwhile, thunder and lightning ensued their own kind of battle above the vast urban wasteland. It's only in our dreams that we can be the very way we feel, the way we simply really are, can connect what cannot be connected. And here in our dreams is all truth already spoken. Here we can receive the truth the way it really is, not the way it seems to be. Rare are these nights. And these kinds of dreams require at least 1 cup of coffee. It should be inhaled right before bedtime. Additionally, it should be supportive if one would have jumped backwards through the day aforetime. Or one's lucky enough to have any Famse reaching into your beard, whether real or imagined, mumbling sacred spells and having a walk with her through her most precious herbal garden. That's when the epiphany is not too far, heard I. What's she doing on Sundays? Asked Rhoda, having discussions with her house spirit about how and why things are. Was not there, says Rhoda sadly, and studies her hands. Then she spreads her fingers and pushes her hand through the air. I speak the green language of the birds, says I. Rhoda, they have to move on, no choice. Doesn't matter what they might want. The presence is limited to a stand only. That ancient disease of the recurrency. Hey, Matthias, says Rhoda, ain't you not a writer? Why do you not draw up a piece about Yitzhak Levi? Do you know soul matter? No? Find the soul matter guy and write a book with him about Levi. Maybe. Why, asked the writer. Well, says his long-lost priestess, he knows it all. About diseases, vagrancy, and the pains you've been through. When the light is turned on, the curtain lifts and our protagonists leave immediately and cohesive. A cat enters the stage by then to throw vigorous colors on bright ground Rothko-like, as the critics and creators used to say. Only to tear down the strange screen right on the spot, whereupon she addresses the audience. Good night, get lost. She holds a strawberry in one paw, throws it in the air, catches it with her mouth and smiles. Someone in the audience yells, one in here should fix that time as fast as possible. I wake up from a series of dreams in a room above the cafe espresso and scream. Dark eyes are all I see. No time to think.